welcome back to Shelabobby Handmade. My name is Caitlin, known just about everywhere on the internet as Shelabobby, and this is my podcast. We typically talk about yarn, mostly socks, but also delving into a little bit of cross stitch. Not crazily, just working on one project, but today I have lots of finished objects for you. I have some works in progress and some acquisitions, plus a little bit of chatty stuff. Just up front, some business. I am currently going to switch my podcast to no, I wish, to monthly recaps, just for the time being. I know that that's going to happen for November and for December, and then I'm going to reevaluate in the new year, but I'll explain a little bit more reasoning behind that if you're interested, but just wanted to let you know up front that this is the monthly recap for November, and then there'll be one at the end of December, early January, because I will be out of town, but early January, there'll be a recap for December. Again, if you want to learn a little bit more on that decision and how my November has been going and the reason behind that decision, stay tuned at the end for the lifey section. Also, a little bit more admin. This day that I'm recording is the 30th of November, which means that tomorrow is December 1st for me. So I don't know when you guys are going to be seeing this. I'm going to try and edit it as quickly as possible to get it up for you guys, but I am doing Vlogmas this year again. So last year was the first year that I did Vlogmas, and then I enjoyed that, so I'd like to continue that on to this year. I'm going to do it the same way I did last year if you were here. If not, then just a short little section to let you know that I do not do them daily. I try to record something daily, but I do not release a video daily. It's usually once a week, twice a week if there's a lot of content. I am not a very adventurous human, so I work, I eat, I take care of my animals, I knit, I go to bed. So sometimes that gets a little bit repetitive, but I do have several advents that I will be opening that I want to share with you guys. Charlie has her advent that she enjoys sharing with you guys as well, plus some chicken activity, and we have a couple of things to get up to this month that will be, this coming month, that will be interesting to record. So there will be a video at least once a week that just kind of recaps my advents. I will be working on my advent stripe blanket, all of that fun stuff. So if you are interested in that, please tune in for Vlogmas. I know that that is not for everyone, and so there'll still be a regular recap for December, early January. Okay, I think that is all of the admin stuff. Sorry, I wanted to put that up front just to make sure everyone who would be needing to hear that information has it. Alright, so let's jump right into finished objects, and I have quite a few because the last time that I recorded, I believe, let me see, the last time I recorded was the 27th of October, and today is the 30th of November, so it's been a full month since I recorded finished objects. So some of these you have seen when they were being started at the end of October, sorry. The end of October, you've seen some of these when they were just getting started, and then some of these you haven't seen before. But anyway, the first finished object that I have is what I call my juniper socks. I have changed my camera angle again, so we're going to be doing that. So these are socks that I made for my friend, who is actually the recipient of the blanket, which is done, spoiler alert. But these are for my friend, so these are for a male friend, so they are on US 1.5s, that is 2.5 millimeter, 72 stitches, and I did do a partridge heel, I think is what that's called, just to add a little bit, because he's getting 3 pairs of socks, so just add a little bit of interest to that. The yarn is by the Wicked Stitch, which is a North Carolina dyer, local to me, and is called Juniper. That's why they're the Juniper socks. So it is just a lovely tealy blue-green, pretty semi-solid and lovely. I started these on October 22nd, and finished them November 3rd. So they were pretty quick turnaround. I think they were my main focus for quite a while. So those are my first socks. And I am going to take these off the blockers because I'm showing you both socks today. I'm going to try something new. That's the tag to show you guys in the close-ups, and I'll put those over there. The second finished object you guys also saw. So these are, nope, need to put them on this side. There we go. These are my Roswell socks. They are for my sister. These are from the Long Dog Yarn of Enchantment, which there's only one more sock set to come. But these are the Yarn of Enchantment. I'm making my sister a patterned or textured sock with every one of them, and she's getting most of them for Christmas. She won't get all of them because I just don't have time to finish them up, but these are the Roswell Incident socks, which were for July. So these are on her sparkle base, which is something that I think is fairly new for her. These ones have a lot, this one has a lot of texture. But I believe she's changed her sparkle base to have a different texture now. So, but I always recommend Long Dog Yarn's yarn because she does beautiful blues and greens, as you can see. So these were started, let's see, October 22nd and finished on November 9th. The pattern is the Rhinebeck Roomies by Kay Litton, or Kayla Litton, the crazy sock lady here on YouTube. And this is my favorite textured sock. This is my go-to when I have a variegated yarn or a heavily textured yarn or just a heavily patterned yarn that needs, that I want to do a texture on and not just a vanilla sock. These are my go-to. So these are on US ones, 2.25 millimeters, 64 stitches, and they are for my sister. I think I already mentioned that. I don't think there's anything else to mention about these. I did do quite a longer leg. You'll see some longer ones because my sister prefers longer legs on her socks and I do not. So when I'm making socks for her or for my nephew, there's a little bit of a longer leg. I think that is all for this one. One thing that I do want to note is that I used a contrast cuff color, and I did not do a round of plain knitting right after the cuff. So you can see a little bit of that green peeking through on that first round of the pattern because there's a little like carryover stitch. And if I were to do a if I were to do a contrast color cuff again, I would most likely do a round of plain knit before I start the pattern. That's the only difference, unless you like that little cute little peekaboo. Alright, I'm going to stick with socks even though I finished the blanket in between the last two socks and these two socks, but just to keep with the theme before I pick up the giant blanket and show you that. So the next socks that I finished are my Santa Fe socks, which I don't believe you guys have seen these, but these are for my sister. This is Long Dog Yarn. This is the August colorway, which is Santa Fe. And so again, making these for my sister for Christmas. And this base is their old merino base, but their new merino base is just as lovely. The pattern that I use for this one is called the Burroughs Tail Socks by Twin Set and Pearls, and I cannot remember the lady's name that's like actually on the design, but Twin Set and Pearl if you look them up, and it's also linked on my project page. But this is my first pattern by them, and it was written lovely, and we'll definitely be picking up some more. This is knit on US 1, 2.25, 64 stitches as it's written in the pattern, and this one has a beautiful picot folded cuff. And this is my first time doing this for socks. I've done it on a garment for my niece. This is my first time doing it for a pair of socks, and I'm going to ask my sister how she feels about them when she wears them, if they are decent as cuffs, and see what she says. And then if there's any more of these that I get in the future, then I know that they work. But it's kind of an experiment for this one. So I only did the toes and heels in the contrast color, which is not written in the pattern. So just added that in. And then there's the beautiful lace design. These were cast on November 9th and finished on November 26th. And I think that is all the information that you need on these ones. Yeah, lovely pattern, easy to remember once you get into it. I did the first sock I knit the pattern over 2 nights and was able to pick it up. The second one I did the first repeat one night, and then a couple nights later did the second half of it, and it was easy after you first get started into it, do a repeat or whatnot. It is easy to remember where your placements are, and you don't have to look at the chart as much. I'm still newish to lace knitting, and so that's something that I am enjoying doing, but I am not a big fan of remembering charted patterns or have trouble remembering longer charted patterns, and maybe that's just normal. I'm just used to textured patterns having a short 4 to 6 repeat and then being able to remember that after a while, but it's probably normal for lace to have some repeats that aren't as memorizable. Alright, the next pair of socks are my Be Quiet socks. This is yarn by Yarnaceous Fibers. I got this in a mystery box. It is called Stay There, Be Quiet, which I'm sure is a reference to one of the Jurassic Park movies. I just can't remember which one. I got these on November 3rd and cast them off yesterday, November 29th. These are also for my friend who's receiving the blanket, US 1.5s, 2.5 millimeters, and this is 72 stitches. These are just basic vanilla socks, and after the podcast recording today, I'm going to box up the blanket and these socks. He has those 3 pairs, and ship those off to him. I think that is all for that one as well. So now we just need to get out the blanket. It is over here. It is ginormous. So I will do my best to show you, but if I am able to get some pictures today, I will pop them up here before I pack it up, of me holding it a little bit more eloquently. But it is a giant queen-size blanket, 90 width-wise and 100 height-wise. I started this on April 2nd of this year, and have been working on it quite slowly throughout the majority of the year. And then the beginning of November, I mostly focused on this and got it done. I did add a border. Let's see. I did add a border, which was a single crochet all the way around the blanket, and then a slip stitch all the way around the blanket. So it just adds a nice detailed border all the way around. And the colors. Let me grab my phone so I can tell you the colors of these. I did not save the bands, so I'm going to read this off of my Ravelry. So let me hold up a section here. So the dark blue, which is right by my pinky there, that is called dark denim. The light blue up here is called sea blue. The light green is called mid green. The gray is called light gray. And the dark green, which I have a little peek right here, that is called dark olive. All of these yarns are I Love This Yarn by Hobby Lobby. It is their worsted weight acrylic yarn. And I was able to mark those skeins off of my list. If you don't know, I am doing a try to use more than you bring in yarn goal for the year. It's a very loose goal. Probably won't make it, but I'll be close. But I was able to mark off 25 skeins. So that was a big win for me. But yes, this is the blanket. It is done. It is complete, ready to be shipped. As soon as I get some finished object photos and just some photos to show detail a little bit better, because it's kind of hard to bundle up and show you this. the pattern is the Ocean Waves blanket. I'm sorry I did not tell you that. Got that to you guys first. The pattern is the Ocean Waves blanket by Lauren Brown. It is a free pattern available on her blog, which is a simple ripple pattern. Yeah, I think that is all about that. My friend asked me shortly after Christmas last year if he could commission a blanket for this Christmas, and I said, absolutely, thank you for giving me enough time to make a giant blanket. And so we worked out the pattern and the colors and got started in early April. So if you have seen some of my other videos, I have a calyx cube on this side of my room, and that section is now empty from this yarn, and I've added my sweater quantities to try and give me some inspiration to work on some sweaters. So I'm going to set this back over here so that it's nice and safe back on my stash boxes. Okay, so that is all of the finished objects that I have for this month recap, and we'll get straight into works in progress and what I'm working on now. So I cast off those Be Quiet socks yesterday afternoon, and then I realized that I didn't have any socks ready to go. I didn't have anything on the needles, and today I have a holiday party with my knitting friends, and just a busy day today and tomorrow, and so I wanted to cast on a couple of pairs of socks that I could have at different sections when I'm ready to use them. So all of these socks were cast on last night at like 8:30, so they are teeny tiny starts. I have not started very much on them. So let me see. I also don't remember which bags they're in. So the first one is in my Fat Squirrel Fibers Rainbow Ghosty bag. I will always have a ghosty bag out, regardless of what season it is. So I am calling these my AA socks because who these are for are a surprise, and they do watch the podcast. So I cannot tell you who they are for. They are a Christmas gift. So here is my teeny tiny little start with lots of strings because I have too long of a tail. But here is my start. You're not going to be able to see very much unless it's the close-up, so let's go ahead and get started on that. So these are my AA socks for a anonymous recipient. These are on US 1 2.25s. They are 68 stitches, and I have never made socks for this person, so I'm hoping that that works. I've asked a lot of questions to their family members, and hopefully that will be correct. The yarn, and I'm going to hold this up just in case, because this has a little bit more detail than that tiny little start. This is Yarnaceous Fibers, and I believe the tag is a little bit, it's handwritten, which is always fine, but sometimes I have a hard time with dyslexia and reading handwritten letters. But I believe that this is called R-O-A-K, Roke, but I don't know if that means roar of a kind, because they're Yarnaceous Fibers, they're dinosaurs, or if that means something and I just don't know what that is. But anyway, this is on their salsa fingering. It is just a dusty blue and dusty pink beautiful yarn, and so this will be socks for that recipient. Again, just started, very, very little to go there, but on the cuff, and I just have my little snowman stitch marker, which I think I got in a yarn advent swap a couple years ago. The next one is also going to be for an anonymous person, but it is a gift in my Fat Squirrel Fibers Christmas bag. Just has some little Christmas houses and Christmas trees on it. So this one is also a very teeny tiny start. This one has a cookie Christmas tree progress keeper. These are actually earrings that I got from, oh, that's neat. I was trying to remember the store. They actually do jewelry, so I got a pair of these. So there's two Christmas trees. I have the Santa cookie ones, like the Pillsbury Drop and Bake, and my mom uses them for earrings during the holiday season, and then I use them as progress keepers as well. But I believe they've started doing some that are more just like charms, single, but you have to be quick to catch their releases. But that's neat. It'll be linked down below. But anyway, teeny tiny start on this one. This is on the August 2023 Yarnable, which is called Mossy Hollow. Just a semi-solid dark green, mossy green. I'm using US 1.5s, 2.5 millimeters. That means it is definitely for a male recipient. 72 stitches. So this one is also a gift, and they also watch the podcast, so I will not be letting you know who these are for, but they are on the go for a Christmas gift. The last sock whip that I have is in my, I always forget how to say this, JM Yarn and Crafts bag that I got for Summer Sock Camp prize. That one is holding this one. This particular one is a DK weight pair of socks, so the pattern for, I don't use a pattern for my vanilla socks. It's just kind of my vanilla recipe that I've gathered from different sock patterns over the years. So those don't have a pattern. The closest one would be the Crazy Sock Ladies vanilla socks. So if you need a good vanilla sock pattern to get you started, that's what I would recommend. These are DK weight socks, so they are also by the Crazy Sock Lady. It's a free DK weight pattern sock. And I have a little bit more on this one because I worked on it this morning while drinking my coffee. This one has a stitch marker from, I can't remember. It's going to be listed right here. Hello Lavender, maybe? I got a sock progress keeper, and then it came with these little snowflake ones. So I believe it's Hello Lavender. But anyway, I have a cuff and have started on the leg for this. This is for my mom's client, who I'm going to call Mr. G. So she's wanting to give them some socks for Christmas. So her clients, it's a husband and wife duo. So I cast on Mr. G's, and Mrs. S's will be next. So these are on US 3 because they are DK weight, and I am doing the 58 stitches for Mr. G. The yarn is Cinder Sap by Nerdy Knits. I don't know the video game that this one is related to. All of Nerdy Knits' yarn are usually from video games, at least from what I've seen. So I don't know what this one was, but it is just her DK weight. There's no nylon in here, but they will typically just wear them as house socks, so I'm not concerned about it wearing too hard. And even if they do, they're socks, and that's what they're meant to do. So that is what I have started in here, and will likely take this one to my holiday party because it's just going to be easy peasy quick knit. So that is all of my sock whips. We will now briefly touch on my cross stitch and see how I'm doing on that, and then I will move on to acquisitions. It'll be a seamless transition to acquisitions. I do want to mention just briefly that some of these that are gifts, all of 3 of the whips in progress that I have, works in progress that I have right now, and the cross stitch itself are intended to be Christmas gifts. And since I will be recording after Christmas this year for the next podcast, then I will likely just have pictures of the ones that you've just seen now. So I apologize for that, but that's just how the recap is going to go for December. I may do sneak peek pictures on my Instagram, so if you're interested in seeing some of that, let me know. And you can also see me working on these during Vlogmas, because that'll be what I'm working on at the beginning. Okie dokie, cross stitch. So I do not have it written down what this is, who this pattern is by. So it is going to be linked below. I'll link the Etsy shop that I got this from, the chart from, and go from there. But this is where I'm at on the cross stitch. So last time I think I only had the letters and I didn't have any of the mushrooms. So now I have the mushrooms, the red ones and the brown ones. I have the green leaves, and left to do is only the yellow mushrooms. I've been putting that off because the yellow mushrooms have 3 colors, like, not in a line, whereas, you know, the red ones had little red blocks, and the brown ones had little brown blocks, and then lighter blocks around it. So I'm a little bit intimidated by it, but that is going to be the next step, and the last step, because it's just a few yellow mushrooms here and up here. So really enjoying the cross stitch. I'm already planning a next cross stitch pattern, and we'll get there. It is definitely going to be something that I enjoy doing alongside of knitting, but definitely not taking over. This would not become a floss tube. But since it is part of my crafting, I do want to show it to you guys. I also learned, because I asked questions about why people don't show the back of their work, and I have learned since then, thank you to the lovely commenter that let me know that some people consider it rude to look at the back of, or ask to see the back of someone's work. So I apologize if I offended anyone by asking to see the back. I mostly just want to learn how someone does their stitches, why the back looks the way it does, more of the, I'm a very middle-brained person, so I don't really have, I've always taken like personality tests and things like that, where like, if you, are you right-brained or left-brained, and all of mine are always in the middle. I'm very center-brained. I have creativity, but I'm also very analytical, and so and organizational and all of that. And so I think that's why I like knitting and crochet so much, is because it's math. Like, it's logic. There's logic in the design of knitting, but then there's also the creativity part of it, where you're creating something from string. So I think that's why knitting is such a great hobby for me, and why cross stitch is also. But yeah, I learned that asking to see someone's back of the work is considered rude, and I've been watching Stuart in Stitches. I will link his channel below. He's fantabulous. Loving all of his progress that he's been working on, all of his projects. Love seeing his whips of shame and all of that. But he said that looking at someone's, or asking to look at someone's back of the work, is like asking to see someone's underwear. And so anyway, here's my underwear. This is the back of my cross stitch. I really like to conserve my stitching, conserve my thread, and so I don't carry it around a lot. I start and stop it, and so I think it looks pretty neat, and that's kind of my goal, is to try and keep it as neat as possible. So anyway, that's the back of my cross stitch, that's the front, and that's where I'm at. So that brings me into acquisitions. Let me turn my page here. That brings me into my acquisitions and the bag that this is stored in. So I decided to get a cross stitch bag, and I cannot remember the, oh yes, Cam the Stitcher. I'll link her channel down below as well, that I've been watching for FlossTube. She mentioned this bag designer, bag maker, and so I hopped on, and of course they had one that had bunnies. So this is the cross stitch bag that I got. I got one big enough that I can use this, because I probably will only have one cross stitch going at a time. I can't see myself as someone who will have multiple going, because I am a process stitcher along with a process knitter, but I can't imagine not having a finished project in cross stitch, and especially if you get bigger and bigger, it takes longer and longer, and so I would probably just keep the one. But this one has some cute little woodland animals and bunnies on it, little mushrooms. There's some brown bunnies and some gray bunnies, some deer, some foxes, some hedgehogs, some little birdies. And then the inside, this is one that has a plastic front. Sorry, I have a hair on it and I'm trying to get it off. Has a plastic front on it, and then has a different pattern inside, but has those same little creatures inside of it. So this is, here we go, Sheba Designs, which is Melissa from Ontario. Oh, you're not going to be able to read that. I'll do it on the close-up. But I got this from her Etsy shop. And so she has some beautiful bags in there if you are interested in cross-stitching bags. She also had some that would be like for notions and things like that. So definitely check out her bags, because this is a great design. It is perfectly made, beautifully made, professionally made. So I definitely recommend these bags. Alright, the next one I'm going to do is, I need to move my bag over there. I have my acquisitions all over the place. The next one I'm going to do is the Long Dog Yarn of Enchantment for November. So if you haven't received this, because I think it's been a little while since I've got this, but if you haven't received yours yet, then you may want to look away. I will put a timestamp here for you to skip to if you don't want to see the Yarn of Enchantment. But this is called the Oregon Mountains. It is on her tweed sock. And it is a beautiful gray, purple, brown tweed mix. And this one is something that I'm going to compare to the first tweed sock, which I think we got in February. And I think she's changed the base on this because it is also not as textured as like the sparkle sock. And then the mini that came with it is like a more of a neutral gray color with also tweed. So this is not 100. It is 85% fine superwash merino, 15% nips. So there's no nylon on this, but I will make my sister a pair of socks with these. So I picked up a couple things that I had been wanting and one thing that I needed. So I did get a cord, a 50-inch ChowGoo interchangeable small cord for knitting a upcoming project. I'm going to keep that a little bit of a secret just in case I don't do it and no one wants to be sad that I don't do it. I have a lot of plans, but not a lot of time to do those plans, so they might get pushed back because there's a couple of other larger projects as far as blankets that I want to get done first. So anyway, I have that cord. I don't have it here to show you because I already put it in my storage. And then if you've been with me for a little while, you know that I've made I've actually made 3 pot holders that are double knit. One has an owl. That one's orange and gray, and I just keep that one as a little mat inside of my working shed. And then I have 2. One is a sheep and one is a rabbit that I made to hang up in our kitchen. And now that we have chickens, I need to make one with a chicken. So I picked up 2 skeins of the Blue Sky Fibers Woolstock Worsted. They're 50-gram skeins in Gray Harbor, which is the light one, and Cast Iron, which is the dark one. So this is enough to make 2 pot holders, but I will definitely be making a chicken one for us to hang on the wall, and then probably make another one for someone else as a gift in the future. So grab those just because they were on sale, and I want to make one in the not too far future. The last thing I got from her was something that I've been considering for a while, but just never really had a need for it. So this is the Coco Knits Maker's Board. It is a magnetic board that you can configure and hold. I think it goes like this. Hold your patterns, your charts, and things like that. I am typically a digital pattern user. I buy my patterns online and then use my tablet or my computer to read the patterns and work from them. I'm not one that really prints out a lot of patterns unless it's the only way that it comes. And I got this because cross stitch patterns, I have several in this white box right here that have actual physical patterns, so I need somewhere to set it so that I can follow the chart while also watching YouTube and doing the chart itself. So I got this more for cross stitch than I did for knitting, but if I need it for knitting, then I have that as well. So I picked up the Maker's Board, which just comes with some magnets to hold up the flap and then to hold your pattern. There's also other accessories that you can get that goes with that, but that way I can keep the pattern cross stitch as I get those. I was also browsing Etsy when I had some trouble sleeping not too long ago, and it popped up that the Knitted Soiree, it will be linked down below. I've gotten bags from her before, but she has a new design, which is a bucket bag. How cute is that? And of course it has chickens. So I added that to my cart and purchased it immediately. So now that I have shown you this, I'm going to put projects in there, and I'm going to be in the car tomorrow, so this bag will go with me. But it is just a absolutely beautiful chicken bucket bag. Alright, the next one is for Yarnable. I actually have November's and December's December's. I can't talk today. I'm going to show you November's first, and then I'll show you December's. I just got it yesterday, so it's a great possibility that you haven't received yours yet. So after I show you November's, I will put December timestamp to where you can skip that and go on to Lifey stuff if you would like. So the first one would be for November, and it has this little pouch that says falling leaves yarn please. I cannot talk. I don't know what's going on. Inside of it, it has a sweater weather aromatherapy shower. Like, you put this in the shower and the hot water gets in it, and it smells like cinnamon and deliciousness. And then there is a enamel pin that says falling leaves yarn please as well. This one says September, and she sent out an email that said that there was a typo on there. So this says September 2024, but this is the November box. Inside of here, we have the yarn, which is called Let's Get Basted. And it is beautiful mauvey blues and purples and grays and browns, all swirled together with a little bit of orange specklies in there. So that one is beautiful. That is November's box. So next I will show you December's box. So if you are not ready to see that, if you haven't gotten yours yet, please skip to this time here, and that will keep you spoiler free. Last warning, skip to that time if you are not wanting to see it. So the first thing that we got was this little tin that slides open. It has a little dinosaur. Yeah, little dinosaur knitting on it. And inside I put the other notion in there, which is a little pair of green snips, and I love these snips. They are my favorite ones to pop in a sock bag. So I went ahead and popped those in there. And then there is a stitch marker set that has 3 adorable little dinosaurs on it in different colors. So those are part of the bag, and the yarn itself is called Dynamite, and it is purple and light blues, greens, pinks, all swirled together. Also a beautiful yarn, and not really what I was expecting for a December colorway. I was expecting something holiday or wintry, so that was a surprise to me. But this one is beautiful, and happy to add that one to my collection as well. Alrighty, so that is all of the acquisitions. So I'm going to hop into some Lifey stuff. So if you are not interested in hearing any of the Lifey stuff that's going on, completely understand, and I will see you either for Vlogmas or in a couple of days, or I'll see you at the end of December for a recap. Alright, Lifey stuff. So the first thing I wanted to get into is the reason why I'm moving my videos for time being from bi-weekly to a monthly. The first thing is, I've never shied away from speaking about mental health and how I'm very affected by the winter. And last year I was super lucky. We had a lot of sunshiny days, a lot of warmer days, and I was able to get through the winter and the fall, the end of fall, without having a lot of trouble with my mental health. Unfortunately, this year it came in with a vengeance. And so the beginning of November, right as around the time that the time changed here in the US, I just really struggled. I was having a lot of anxiety and a lot of depression, and just was struggling to be motivated, one, to record, and it's a lot of energy. I'm an introvert, so it's a lot of energy to project and be myself on a camera, especially if I'm dealing with, depression and anxiety. So I didn't feel well enough in the right mental space to be able to come and record for you. So that was number one, the reason why I skipped the first week probably was due to just not being in the right mental headspace. And that's continuing, but I'm feeling a lot better. We've had a lot of warmer days. In fact, today is the first like chilly day that we've had. But yeah, it was just a hard month to process. There was also, I'm a very empathic person where I feel a lot of the emotions of the people around me and in the general vicinity. And if you are not from the U.S. had a presidential election, and it was a very emotional one. Like, there was a lot of tension, a lot of anxiety that other people were feeling, and that I was absorbing those. So it was a tough time. But doing a lot better now. Just want to preface, like, before I go any further, I'm doing fine. Everything's okay, and I'm going to be okay. Just give me a little bit of grace if maybe I have to move things around, or if my schedule changes or something along those lines. But anyway, that was the first one. And then, so that was kind of covering up for November, and the reason why I decided to just do November as a recap today. And then I really want to do Vlogmas. I enjoyed doing that last year, and so that takes a lot of time and mental space to record something daily, even if it's just showing advents, and not really, a speaking video, and just me showing you what I got that day. They're very short, they're very sweet, day recaps, but I want to be able to do that, and having to also, on top of that, record two podcasts during that month. It was just going to be too much for me, I think, and so I opted to also do a December recap. I'm also going on vacation at the end of the month, and so I wouldn't be here for one of the weekends that I would need to and have to push it anyway. So that's another reason. In general, December's and November's are very, very busy for me, especially every weekend. There's usually something that has to be done or go to because it's the holiday season and family time, and I want to be involved in that and don't want to rush this part. I don't want to rush the time that I spend with you guys. So, yeah. So that was the main reasons for deciding to do November, December. And then during November, the beginning of November, when I was having some mental health struggles, I got, and this is nothing bad, but I got my first negative comment. And I guess I'm very lucky that I've been doing this for over a year and got my first one just last month. And while it wasn't something negatively directed towards me, it was negatively directed towards the company that some of the yarn that I was displaying was from. I still took it very personally. And so I struggled for a little bit to get the motivation to record again. And that's something that I guess I need a little bit of a thicker skin to deal with, but I think it just hit me at an emotional time where it affected me a little bit more. I'm usually pretty thick-skinned, so that was another reason why I was a little bit delayed. But no stress. That comment's not available to view anymore. I understand their perspective and respect their perspective, but I don't think it was necessary to comment. That's just my view on it. But anyway, that is all related to Vlogmas and all of that. So Vlogmas, actually, when I finish recording this, I'm going to record my opening for Vlogmas because I'm going to be on the road tomorrow and don't have a lot of talking time. So I'm going to record like what advents I have and all of that right after I finish recording the podcast here. So that's on the plans, and I'm excited to see what's in all of the advents and share that with you guys. Of course, Charlie's advent, and what I get up to in December. So super excited about that. Little update on Charlie. She's doing great. She did turn 4, so she is officially in her senior years. So she is just as adorable, just as playful and happy, and living her best life. So she's great. Chickens are also doing great. We are now officially have all 4 laying. There's been some, I don't know where that cut off. It's been 3 minutes over my time. I'll just start over with books. So when I switched to cross stitch, I continued to adapt the reading. I was reading for the last hour of my crafting time, and then switching over to knitting while just listening to a book and not having visual stimuli from a TV show or YouTube. And so I've been getting a lot of books read. In fact, I've read 6 books this year, which was my goal, which is great because I'm not a very big reader, but a lot of that is Audible. And so I think that that is my method of reading. So anyway, I was reading The Left Hand of Darkness by this person. I can't remember the author, but I have read this book before, so this is my second time through the book. The first time I read the physical book during a community like book reading thing. Loved it, and absolutely loved it in the Audible version as well. I'm sorry if you can hear my phone. I'm going to move it to try and make it less vibrating. Anyway, definitely recommend this book. It is fantastic. It's kind of a slow burn, but it is filled with a lot of details and just interest. It's got 2 perspectives. The story is told from 2 perspectives. Each chapter switches perspective, and it's great. After that, I had watched a recap of the movie Annihilation, and I was really interested in that story and found out that it was an adaptation from the book. So I read Annihilation. I've completed it. And if you love unexplained, spooky, mysterious sci-fi, this book is for you. It has so much detail in it, but I have no idea what's going on still. So I assume that the rest of the series will continue to explain it, but I was hooked, loved it, and I am currently reading the second book, which is Authority, which is just as fantastic. 10 of 10. Recommend these. So I think I have like 3 hours left on Authority before that one's done. So that is what I am reading. I wanted to update you guys because it's been a little while since I've mentioned anything that I've been reading, because it's not really something I do a whole lot, but I am proud to say that I have almost completed 3 books in the last month and a half. So, yay me. Alright, so that is all that I have for you guys today. I hope this wasn't too long. I know I've started the clips several times, so hopefully it wasn't too long, but I appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming to hang out with me, and I will see you in Vlogmas if that is your thing. If not, then I will see you at the beginning of January for the December recap. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.